What if the next world war isn't fought with bombs and bullets? What if the familiar images of conflict of tanks rolling across borders and jets screaming through the sky are a relic of a bygone era? The 21st century has forged new battlegrounds, invisible to the naked eye, yet capable of bringing nations to their knees. These are wars waged in silence, in the hum of servers and the flicker of stock tickers. Forget the clash of steel. The future of global dominance will be decided in a contest of intellect, innovation, and infrastructure. It's a war that has already begun. It's a war fought with chips. Not poker chips, but silicon. The microscopic, hyper-complex brains that power everything from your smartphone to the most advanced weapons systems on the planet. The nation that designs and fabricates the fastest, most efficient microchips controls the pace of technological progress itself. They dictate who leads in artificial intelligence, in quantum computing, in the very architecture of modern life. Access to this technology is no longer just an economic advantage. It is a matter of supreme national security. A choke point in the supply of these tiny silicon marvels could cripple an economy more effectively than a naval blockade. It's a war fought with currencies. For decades, the US dollar has been the bedrock of the global financial system. Oil, commodities, international trade, all priced in greenbacks. This has given America an unparalleled economic weapon, the power to impose sanctions and isolate rogue states from the world economy. But that dominance is now being challenged. New digital currencies are emerging, promising a decentralized alternative. Nations are creating their own sovereign digital payment systems, designing pathways that bypass the dollar-centric framework entirely. The struggle is over who writes the rules of global commerce. Will the dollar remain king, or will a new digital dynasty ascend to the throne, rewriting the flow of wealth and power across the globe? And ultimately, it's a war for control of the future itself. This isn't just about economic competition. It's a fundamental clash of ideologies about how societies should be organized. It's a battle over data, privacy, and governance. One vision champions the free flow of information, individual liberty, and democratic norms. The other proposes a model of state-controlled data, social credit systems, and technological surveillance as tools for maintaining stability and order. The system that proves more efficient, more resilient, and more appealing to the rest of the world will not just lead the 21st century, it will define it. The question is, which path will humanity choose? One nation built the modern world. After the devastation of World War II, the United States architected the global order. It established the institutions, from the United Nations to the World Bank. It secured the sea lanes, policed the peace, and underwrote the system of free trade that lifted billions out of poverty. American innovation gave us the internet, the GPS in our pockets, and the technologies that sparked a digital revolution. For over 70 years, the American-led order, for all its flaws, has been the undeniable center of gravity for the planet. Another may be preparing to replace it. In a single generation, China has undergone the most breathtaking economic transformation in human history. It has lifted 800 million of its people from poverty, building gleaming megacities where there were once rice paddies. It has become the workshop of the world, its manufacturing prowess unmatched. But Beijing is no longer content to simply assemble the world's gadgets. It has a plan, Made in China 2025, a blueprint to dominate the industries of the future. It is building a blue water navy, launching its own space station, and rolling out a global infrastructure plan, the Belt and Road Initiative that seeks to place Beijing at the center of a new world order. This is the defining rivalry of our time. America versus China. It is more than just a competition between two nations. It is a collision of two civilizations, two systems, two fundamentally different ways of seeing the world. On one side, a messy, chaotic, and vibrant republic founded on the ideals of individual liberty and government by the people. On the other, a disciplined ancient civilization governed by a single powerful party that prioritizes collective good and state-led harmony above all else. It is a contest between democracy and one-party power. One system argues that progress comes from the bottom up, from the free exchange of ideas, from dissent, debate, and the power of the ballot box. It believes that innovation flourishes when individuals are free to challenge the status quo. The other system argues that true progress requires long-term vision and stability, something that can only be achieved through centralized planning and the decisive authority of a single party, unburdened by the short-term cycles of elections. Both are now in a global competition to prove their model is superior. The old superpower, wrestling with internal divisions, aging infrastructure, and questions about its role in the world. A nation that, despite its immense power, feels a sense of anxiety, a fear that its best days may be behind it. Versus the rising dragon, brimming with confidence, ambition, and a deep sense of historical destiny. A nation that believes its time has come, that the century of humiliation is over, and that it is poised to reclaim its historical position at the center of the world. This confrontation is forcing every other nation to make a choice. It is cleaving the world in two, creating a great decoupling. A digital iron curtain is descending, separating the world into two distinct technospheres, with different technologies, different standards, and different values. But here's the real question, the one that will define the lives of everyone on this planet. If China rises, does America have to fall? Is this a zero-sum game, a modern Thucydides trap, where a rising power is destined to clash with an established one? Is the only possible outcome a world where one wins and the other loses? Where the decline of one is the necessary precondition for the ascent of the other? Many strategists and politicians believe so. They see an inevitable conflict on the horizon, whether it's fought with tariffs, sanctions, or something far worse. They argue that there is only room for one leader on the world stage. Or is that question a dangerous simplification? Is the real winner neither of them? What if, in their all-consuming struggle for supremacy, both superpowers exhaust themselves, draining their resources and political will? What if they become so entangled in their rivalry that they fail to address the truly existential threats we all face? Climate change, pandemics, resource scarcity. These are challenges that respect no borders and care nothing for ideology. In a world on fire, the squabble over who gets to be king of the ashes might be the ultimate folly. The story of the 21st century may not be the simple tale of America versus China. It might be the story of how middle powers like India, Brazil, and the European Union navigate this great power competition. It might be the story of how humanity either comes together to solve its shared problems, or fractures apart in a struggle for dominance. The stakes could not be higher. So stay with us. We are about to break down every facet of this new global conflict, from the fight for silicon sovereignty and the AI arms race, to the battle for the future of money and the new space race. We will explore the choke points, the strategies, and the hidden forces shaping our world. Because the answer to this question, who will win the 21st century, may change how you see the future and your place in it forever. China was once humiliated by foreign empires. Now it challenges the empire that dominates the world. How? Before China could rise, America ruled, militarily, financially, culturally. But empires peak, and peaks can become declines. One man opened China and changed history. The West made products, China made everything. What if America funded its own challenger? Economic war had begun. This isn't about factories anymore, it's about technology. Microchips may decide empires, a small island, potentially a global war. What happens if one spark ignites everything? Is America weakening from within? Growth like history had never seen. What if the miracle has cracks? Could debt break the dragon? Power needs people. China may be running out. Naval supremacy. Old king versus challenger. China may be building empire without conquest, aid, or dependency. America controls money. That matters. A financial revolution. Who controls intelligence may control civilization. Invisible warfare is already happening. The Cold War may be moving to the moon. The war beneath the ground. Can rising powers be stopped? History says, maybe not. History offers a stark and repeating lesson. When a rising power emerges, filled with ambition and a sense of its own destiny, it inevitably challenges the established order, the ruling power that has long shaped the world in its image. This is the oldest story in international relations, a dynamic fraught with tension, fear, and miscalculation. The established power fears losing its primacy, its security, its very way of life. The rising power feels constrained, disrespected, and denied its rightful place at the head of the table. In this crucible of geopolitical friction, war often follows. It is not inevitable, but the gravitational pull towards conflict is immense. 16 times in history, this pattern has emerged. 12 times it has ended in bloodshed. The pressure builds through trade disputes, arms races, and proxy conflicts in distant lands. Each move is interpreted as a provocation, each defensive measure seen as a threat. Trust erodes, replaced by a rigid logic of worst-case scenarios. And if the dam of deterrence finally breaks, the world changes overnight. The intricate systems of trade, travel, and communication that define modern life would shatter. A regional conflict could ignite a global conflagration with breathtaking speed, drawing in allies and triggering tripwires laid down decades ago. The assumptions that underpin our globalized world, that goods will always flow, that markets will remain open, that peace is the default state, would be proven tragically fragile. It is a terrifying possibility. One that planners in Washington, Beijing, and capitals across the globe are forced to contemplate daily. They wargame the scenarios, calculate the acceptable losses, and prepare for a future they hope never arrives. The sheer destructive power of modern arsenals, from hypersonic missiles to autonomous weapons, means that a great power war would be unlike any conflict in human history. The front lines would be everywhere, in space, in cyberspace, and in the global financial system. Every great rivalry carries this shadow. The Cold War was defined by the spectre of nuclear annihilation, a balance of terror that held the world hostage for 40 years. Today's rivalry is different, yet the shadow remains, mutated. It is the risk of a conventional war between nuclear-armed states escalating beyond control. It is the fear that a misunderstanding in the South China Sea or a cyber attack on critical infrastructure could set off an unstoppable chain reaction. This raises the central paradox of the 21st century. Can enemies destroy each other without ensuring their own self-destruction? The global economy is not a collection of separate systems. It is a single, deeply integrated network. The United States and China are not just rivals. They are each other's largest trading partners, intertwined in a complex dance of competition and codependence. To strike a blow against the other's economy is to wound oneself. A blockade, a sanction, a financial decoupling, these are weapons that create blowback, threatening a global depression that would spare no one. In this new era, power isn't solo. The age of a single, unchallenged hegemon is fading. The ability to dictate terms to the rest of the world is diminishing. Influence is no longer just about the size of your military or your economy. It's networks. Power is the strength, breadth, and resilience of your alliances. It's the web of security guarantees, trade agreements, and diplomatic relationships you can call upon in a crisis. The contest is not just between two nations, but between two competing networks, two visions for global order. One, a long-standing system of formal alliances. The other, a more fluid network built on economic investment and infrastructure. The winner will be the one who builds the more compelling and durable coalition. But the competition extends beyond military and economic spheres. The ultimate battleground may be the human mind. Who shapes the world's imagination? Whose stories, values, and ideas become the global default? Is the most compelling vision one of individual liberty and democratic ideals exported through culture and entertainment? Or is it a vision of collective prosperity and stability delivered through state-led efficiency? This is the war of narratives, fought on social media, in movie theaters, and in university classrooms. The outcome of this contest will determine the world's future votes, not just in elections, but in the quiet, crucial decisions made in the halls of the United Nations, the boardrooms of multinational corporations, and the assemblies of international standard-setting bodies. Nations around the world are constantly choosing which side to align with on issues of technology, trade, and human rights. These choices will define future markets. Will the digital infrastructure of the 21st century run on open, interoperable standards? Or will it splinter into separate, competing technospheres? Will developing nations in Africa, Asia, and Latin America embrace Western models of development? Or will they turn to the state capitalist alternative? The answers will create fortunes and determine which economies thrive in the decades to come. And this, ultimately, is the contest for future power. It is a struggle fought not only with warships and tariffs, but with ideas, alliances, and influence. The choices made today by leaders and by citizens are forging the character of the 21st century, deciding whether the great rivalry of our time will lead to a catastrophic war, a tense and divided cold peace, or a new form of competitive coexistence. The stakes could not be higher. Who wins? The maker or the inventor? Messy freedom versus disciplined power. The balance is changing, but America may still hold cards few notice. Power runs on energy, always has. The world depends on fragile arteries. It may already be happening. What if rivalry destroys both? Maybe this isn't two giants, but many. History may be moving beyond both. The dragon has vulnerabilities, and empires don't always die quietly. Every empire, in the blinding light of its own zenith, believed it would last forever. The Romans saw their roads and laws as the permanent bedrock of civilization. The British Empire saw its dominion, on which the sun never set, as a natural and enduring order. They built monuments to their own permanence, etched their victories in stone, and taught their children that their way of life was the final destination of history. They saw themselves not as a chapter, but as the end of the book. None did. History is a relentless tide, and even the mightiest sandcastles of power are eventually washed away. The foundations of their dominant's military might, Economic control, technological superiority proved to be transient. What seemed like unshakable strength was, in retrospect, a delicate alignment of circumstances, vulnerable to the very forces of change they believed they had conquered. The lesson is brutal and unequivocal. Permanence is an illusion. So, maybe decline is inevitable. Perhaps this is the iron law of civilizational physics. For the United States, the challenge is one of entropy, the slow decay of institutions, the fraying of social fabric, the immense cost of maintaining a global military presence while infrastructure crumbles at home. The demographic pyramid inverts, and the political system seems paralyzed, unable to forge consensus on the most fundamental issues. It's a slow, grinding erosion of the very things that made it a superpower. Maybe not. For China, the challenge is one of compression, the immense strain of a nation rocketing from agrarian poverty to technological aspirant in a single generation. Its demographic cliff is even steeper, a direct consequence of its own past policies. Its economic model, built on debt-fueled construction and state-controlled enterprise, faces diminishing returns. The very top-down control that enabled its meteoric rise now stifles the innovation and trust needed for the next stage of development. Both powers are wrestling with the same force time, just from opposite directions. Decline is not a certainty, but a choice. It is the failure to adapt. And this forces a radical question. Maybe nations aren't the answer. The very concept of a nation-state, a bordered territory with a singular government, is a relatively new invention in the grand sweep of human history. Today, the challenges we face flagrantly disregard these imaginary lines. A virus born in one city can halt the globe in weeks. Carbon emitted from one country's factories warms the entire planet. A financial crisis triggered by one nation's banks can impoverish millions in another. Our problems are globalized, but our solutions remain stubbornly national. Maybe humanity is. Maybe the correct unit of survival is not the state, but the species. This isn't a utopian dream. It's a pragmatic recognition of reality. The great projects of the 21st century achieving a sustainable energy transition, regulating artificial intelligence, exploring space, preventing pandemics are too large, too complex, and too expensive for any single nation to solve alone. They require a level of collaboration that transcends traditional rivalries. The ultimate test isn't whether America or China can lead the world, but whether humanity can learn to lead itself. This isn't China versus America. That framing is a 20th century lens on a 21st century reality. It's a media narrative, a political tool, a simplification that obscures a far more profound struggle. It reduces a complex, multipolar world into a binary conflict, forcing every issue into a zero-sum game of who's winning and who's losing. It's what future survives. The real contest is between competing models for organizing society in the age of AI, genetic engineering, and climate change. Will our future be one of open, democratic societies, messy and chaotic but free? Or will it be one of centrally planned, technologically managed efficiency, stable and prosperous but unfree? Or is there a third way, a hybrid model that blends the best of both? A future of coevolution where competition in some areas coexists with collaboration in others? This is the true battleground. So who wins? We've spent this entire journey examining the sinews of power, the energy choke points, the rare earth minerals, the silicon sovereignty, the AI arms race. We've mapped the cyber shadows and the new space race. We've questioned the dollar and counted the demographic clocks. We've seen how middle powers could tip the balance. But after all this analysis, the question remains: China, The nation that lifted 800 million people from poverty in a historical blink? The civilization state with a 4,000-year sense of its own centrality, now reclaiming what it sees as its rightful place? The power that builds cities in a decade and dominates supply chains with ruthless efficiency? America, the indispensable nation that, for all its flaws, forged the modern world order. The magnet for global talent, whose culture and innovation still captivate the planet. The messy, self-critical, endlessly reinventing republic that possesses an unparalleled capacity for renewal. Maybe we're asking the wrong question. The winner isn't a flag. It's a mindset. It's a capacity. The winner is whoever adapts, whoever can shed the skin of old ideologies and embrace new realities, whoever can navigate the treacherous currents of technological disruption and ecological crisis without breaking. The winner is the society that can manage its demographic shifts, reform its economic models, and harness the power of AI for the benefit of its people, not just the power of the state. The winner is the system that proves most resilient, most innovative, and most capable of correcting its own mistakes. And the loser is not the one who is weaker or poorer. The loser is whoever thinks history is over, whoever believes their current success is a permanent mandate, whoever looks at the world, at the relentless pace of change, and declares with absolute certainty, "This cannot happen to us." The loser is the one who is blinded by their own reflection, who mistakes the map for the territory, and who believes against all evidence that the rules of the past will govern the future. The loser is whoever thinks history can't change. Empires rise, empires fall. But the next chapter may belong to whoever controls tomorrow. And that story is being written right now. If this changed how you see the future, subscribe to Dark History File and comment below. Will China overtake America, or is America still the superpower to beat?